Christians to a secular distribution. That's where the ball games change. Okay. It's a shift because they have their distributors and jobbers who understand how to market. We've looked at games now.
And this is where we looked at word networks.
That's right.
And word networks was Christian bookstores and Christian spaces. Now the thing is, which we still struggle to this very day, is how do we put, because of the web internet, we've expanded on that naturally, but the biggest thing that held back the labels in the UK, I know for fact, is that they don't know how to distribute to the wider audience. They do not know how to get the things into HMV and whatever. And Kirk, you could walk into any store in the UK and buy a Kirk album.
Affinity Extra, be extra.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily represent the views of Affinity Extra.
Yeah, people, this is the boy here, Roger Moore, and Affinity Extra, celebrating us music with black origin. We're here on another recording series that I'm doing with Kevin Tomlin, who's the black music historian. We're going to talk about, actual a figure in gospel, which is a game changer figure, a figure which basically, when I was a teenager, really had a major input in the music that I was listening to and influenced by. Kevin's gonna go into it. So this is the episode where I'm going, how you gonna pull this one off, Kevin? Yeah, how are we gonna explain this over? So we're gonna be doing a podcast talking about this person who actually changed the game. It's important because we need to be not only inspired by gospel artists, the Andrew Couch of the world, and always business, but it takes a lot of people to do things in the background. And I think that not until we celebrate the LA Reeds of gospel, in the UK, we'll get a clue and realize that we cannot do without the LA Reeds of gospel behind the scenes. So this is how it goes. So now we're going to talk about a lady called Vicki Mack Lataillade. It says Lataillade.
It's a French name actually. Lataillade.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So hopefully she'll do it. Vicky, we'd love to do an interview with you. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to talk to us, you can pronounce. We get to pronounce it now because we want to be. We'd love to have a first person, but that's the next stage for us. But yeah, bro, please tell me about this young lady who became.
Okay, let's look at it when she started.
Okay.
She became an intern. We're just going to go back a bit. She became an intern with RCA Music, which is very, very important actually, because with RCA Music, it was the top label. It was the first label in history to actually produce a million-seller album in history, the first million-seller for a black artist by the name of the late Harry Belafonte.
Oh, okay. The Jamaican.
The Jamaican.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so she actually did her internship at that very label where her brother came out with that. And Elvis Presley was at that label as well. And also Charlie Pride, the first successful black country artist in history. With approximately about 11 gold and platinum albums to his credit on RCA. RCA is the first label that did the two-pronged strategy of marketing the artist and make him dominating in one sector of genre and then let him cross over. She learned that technique from those executives. They taught her how to market her artists.
Okay.
Yes, because remember she said, I got hired on the sales at RCA Music. The thing that stuck with me was working with Dolly Parton and listening to people like King Times executive, right? The executive, the RCA executive, Joe, I can't remember, Gallington and other, talking about strategies that would bring country music to the mainstream. So she was inside listening to these guys. They're talking about strategies of crossover. So these RCA was one of the key operative in making these multi-conglomerate, top-selling global country artist. So that's how I learned the dual marketing approach. Strategy, dual marketing approach. And that's why Gospel Eccentric has been so successful in crossing over gospel.
So 1 second, guys.
Techniques you learned.
Let's just pause now. Gospel Centric, you can't let this over your head still, guys.
You can't let this over your head.
Because when I was a teenager, there's a label that, and it really inspired me when I was doing my little records, was Gospel Centric. So salute to you, sis, because it inspired me. I just didn't realize that in the UK, we just never was ready for this kind of thing still. But like basically, Gospel Centric was inspiration to see a label that was born out of nothing. But no, nothing.
It was in a garage, really.
Yeah, garage. It's not to disrespect the nothing, but born out of very humble beginnings, as I would say,
yes.
And then to strategically be the mastermind behind Kirk Franklin, who everybody now. This is the thing that I didn't get with Kirk. Kirk has a very crossover sound. Everybody agrees with that, yeah? But his first album wasn't... It was a traditional gospel album, but he was sold as a contemporary gospel album, where it wasn't as contemporary as the Winans at the time. I believe at the time, Winans was more contemporary than Kirk, but very strategically,
it's the marketing strategy, bro.
So I was listening to the album, I enjoyed it, and it had a couple good songs on there, but it was continually pushed over a period, and I've got 2 posters at the time of Kirk Franklin. One was non-platinum one of the Blue album, and then they had another one 3 years later. A fresh version was done saying it's now a platinum album. So it showed you, they said, listen, hook or by crook, this artist, this talented young man, because there's a lot of Kirk Franklins at the time, probably at the time, because America, one thing American people tell me straight, if you see one man in music, we've got 50 others. If you see, it's about who gets through the door. You know what I'm saying? The amount of talent, Andre Crouch, all these, there's so many talented people.
Yes.
But the thing is the one who gets through the door, that God has opened the door for them, or you could see luck, or whichever way you call it, lady luck, whatever you see it, they got through the door. So Kirk got through this door, and you can see already now he's signed to a label.
Now this is the thing that the label, when Kirk came to the label, it was a small, very small mum and pop store. It's like in a room. It was operating from it. They didn't have their office yet, which they eventually bought. They're operating from. She was operating, but the thing about it with it, although she was operating, but she was operating like an executive from RCA. She understand the game. Now she learnt, and she got the right people she recruit the right people to work with her based on urban marketing. Okay, listen. Let's look at this here, what she said about the Kirk Franklin. And she said, did you have any idea, this is the guy asking her the question, did you have any idea how big Kirk Franklin would be? And hear what she says, absolutely not. I thought this was okay, let's bring it over here, because I'm reading this thing and I'm trying to read this at the same time, because I want to actually say the facts correctly. I don't want to waffle it. Absolutely not. I thought this was a great record and it would sell about 50,000 units. That means it would peak at 50,000 units, which the average that black gospel album would do when they said top end the best. 50,000, 50,000 to 100,000. Because remember, prior to this album coming out, the Hawkins would do about 250,000 copies to 300,000. That was good, big. But this is going to change the game here. Listen to this. I thought it would sell to 50,000 units, but it did that in 1 month. Now, when you have an album that goes 50,000 and a small label in 1 month, you're going to say, hello, Houston, what do we have here? Hello, what's going on here?
New car next week.
Hey, 50,000 in 1 month.
Where's my check?
What can it do in 2 months? Hold on a minute. Okay. So that's when I knew something was happening. It did 50,000 in 1 month. And then a year later or so, it did 100,000 in 1 week. So that means they were building up region by region. So although the album came out during the early 90s, they build up on it city by city and so on. You know, they're strategizing. It's just like a guerrilla marketing and knocking. And this in 1 week, my husband Claude and I took everything we had and keep putting it back into the project instead of drawing out and just, you know, getting a nice Rolls Royce. Get Jaguar. It started to plunge back. Huh. And then this is what happened. The distribution deal was with Sparrow, which was strictly Christian distribution at the time.
So Sparrow,
Sparrow's a major boy. It was a major boy.
So for them to be able to pitch. So imagine how we got Sparrow. As much as they do their own stuff, they would able to put projects.
But listen to this. Right after we had the distribution deal with them, they were purchased by Liberty, and Liberty was owned by EMI, the former British recording giant, which of course the Beatles came out of. You know, so these brothers had deep pockets. So they will market. Once they see the potential, they would throw the money at it. So very quickly we went from just having a Christian distribution to Christians to a secular distribution. That's where the ball games change. It's a shift because they have their distributors and jobbers who understand how to market. We're playing games now.
And this is where we looked at word networks.
That's right.
And word networks was Christian bookstores and Christian spaces. Now the thing is, which we still struggle to this very day, is how do we put, because of the web internet, we've expanded on that naturally, but the biggest thing that held back the labels in the UK, I know for fact, is that they don't know how to distribute to the wider audience. They do not know how to get the things into HMV and whatever. And Kirk, you could walk into any store in the UK and buy a Kirk album. So if you just want to get an album, heard about this guy Kirk? You'll see, Kirk's album in there.
We can order it for you.
Kirk's album was the album you'll see in every HMV store.
Yes, that's right.
Not a problem. You know what I mean? So if you just go on a bit of gospel, you go Kirk, and you see Kirk Franklin, and you see Sounds Blackness. Yeah, Sounds Blackness and Kirk was the ones back when I was younger that you'll see. That you'll see.
Because both of them had a sound, and they were kicking. They were crossing over into the. They were actually Kirk stuff was actually played at parties.
Yeah, man. When we get to God's property and all the ones anyway. So yeah, go on.
Look. Okay, all right. This is where things really got interesting, because she had a lot of threats in her life too, and all that sort of nonsense too. You know, because remember, when we go to the other, you need to bring up the other one. We take this one down for a minute.
Okay, cool. So guys, we're looking at an article that was put in the Billboard.
Yeah.
That was an interview that was done in 2005.
Yes, that's right.
2005 by Deborah Evans Price with Vicki Mack.
Yeah, Deborah Evans Price is one of the top Billboard journalists that specialize in that sort of thing. You know, urban gospel and so forth. Yeah, if you can find it, go to Earth Story. No, to the Earth Story. This is the one. That one, the Earth Story, because this is what it tells you here. You see what it's talking about now. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Called the Hot Shot by Ebony Magazine, when Ebony Magazine was the kingpin. Implementing the paradigm shift, because it was a game changer actually. Right. Call the lady Vicki Mack. Call the shot caller. That's a term used by Ebony Magazine. Vicky call the shots in an industry defined by innovation and radical rule breakers. She breaks the rules. Okay.
That's deep right there.
Yay. When they told her she couldn't be an executive, she became a CEO of the largest and most successful independent-owned gospel record label not in the United States alone, in the
whole wide world.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, listen to them. When they told her she couldn't sell more than 50,000 units,
yeah.
50,000 units on a gospel record, she sold 3 million. Look, when you're doing that, somebody said, why we are not doing it? This is okay.
Man, somebody gets sacked in the morning for that one, man.
Yes.
Somebody gets sacked over that.
Why
didn't we do this?
That? What are you doing? We need to get somebody in. Okay, well, when they told her she couldn't have a gospel album without a big singer in front, she found Kurt Franklin and revolutionized the face of gospel music, which is true. Now listen to what it says. Listen to what Billboard magazine said. Gospel Centric Record was named the #1 gospel label in America by Billboard magazine. Now, when you have a big trading magazine saying that, she's going to have problems. She's going to have problems. People are going to say, we need to actually buy her out, cease or quiet her, whatever. What's going on? Right. With sales of more than 30 million CDs.
Jeez.
By the time she went #1, she had 30 million. 30 million CDs. It will be like the A days of Philly International and Motown.
And I think we'll quickly hit you. Gospel Centric. Not only did Kirk, there's Kirk Carr. You know what I'm saying?
Trinity.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of
them were going platinum and gold.
They were doing some serious. At a stage is like if you did gospel, if you got into Gospel Centric, you will sell just by having their label on your. I bought Kurt Carr's first album, just by the fact basically it was on Kurt Franklin's album.
Yes, and he was smoking with. I mean, these were some serious. Look, okay, this is another thing. In addition to Gospel Eccentric, Vicky's projects and companies in the music industry had resulted in sales of 100 million records. 100 million records. This is a label started basically in the garage, really. If you think about the humble beginnings of Motown as well, one of the executives, the former black record labels or black record divisions that was run by Singleton. Singleton was running MCA Record, which had on its roster Bobby Brown and and also people like Stephanie Mills. These were platinum selling artists. And he said at that time, after the dust settled, he said she is the Barry Gordy of gospel. She actually engineered. She did something which. Can you imagine this record company being the #1 for several years? The #1 gospel label. And remember, they consistently doing platinum projects. Hello.
Crazy.
Look at this. This, when you think about where she came from, her family, her mother was in the civil rights movement. And all the struggles with that, because she's a West Coast girl, right? But hear this: form Gospel Eccentric in 1992 with almost non-existent budget. Vicky and her husband Claude, in less than a decade, transformed an upstart little venture into the commanding presence in gospel music, named the #1 gospel label in America and in the world by Billboard magazine, with sales topped more than 30 million units. Or 20 million. In addition to Gospel Centric, Vicky's projects and company and result in sales of more than 10 million records. She guided gospel eccentric into a leading force in today's urban gospel marketplace. We could read them, but the thing about it, what is fascinating here is that she constantly helped the gospel market to do over the $500 million in gross earning in America alone. And it became so in demand that major labels was beginning to buy into these gospel operations.
Yeah.
Because Zomba Records is originally a label that was started in Willesden, in London, actually, where Billy Ocean recorded. So it's a long history there. And they came so big that they had R. Kelly on the contract, Britney Spears, NSYNC, and so forth. And these were guys from South Africa that created that, So they became the top kingpins, and they were so smart enough that they aligned themselves with Vicky. They saw so these brothers from South Africa, they understand numbers and money. When you understand, they have no pride. You see, ching ching, the money. Okay, brother, let's put my ego aside. This is money, and I see. Why should I let my competitor get into this when I can?
Okay. And
this is where Siegel comes in, because Siegel actually was responsible further to take...
Max Siegel.
Yes, to take, because his father was an executive and his mother was gospel. Take it to the next level. So he's an industry brother as well.
So you got so guys. Amazing. So just a list to tell you this from the platinum selling artists, which is obviously we know is Kirk Franklin, but the gold selling artists. What's the difference between platinum and gold?
Platinum is a millions units sold.
Yeah.
And gold is 500,000 units sold.
So you've got gold selling artists are the likes of Kurt Carr, Tremaine Hawkins, Trinity 5-7, Byron Cage, Jay Moss, David Hollister, Kelly Price.
But with
Papa
Kelly Price, this is Kelly Price. Let me tell you about Kelly Price. It's another interesting story. Kelly Price was an artist signed to the Isley Brothers T-Neck label.
Okay, yeah.
And she was doing platinum with them before she got to gospel.
Yeah.
So she's a serious sister as well.
This is what do you know what I'm saying? No, Kelly Price was no serious. Obviously, Nicky Dapper.
Anyhow, go.
But when you got Kelly Price, you got reggae legend Papa San when he came over to gospel. You got Natalie Wilson and the SOP Corral. Yeah. Another top album there. Percy Baddy and the American Idol. You know what I'm saying? And then you got, let me see how many of us, and he said just to name a few.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Compiling 30
because maybe
albums
he had Walter Hawkins and their label too,
And the thing is, guys, what I loved about them, when Kirk Franklin brought out his platinum album, I've got the VHS of Kirk Franklin. So I got the VHS, the videotape. Of Kirk Franklin's album. So what they really was really good at the time was that you could get not only the album, you get the live experience as well. You know what I'm saying? So what was at a time where video was becoming a very more big influence, you started to see artists more on TV and the gospel stations and different things like this. I think these artists were transcended that era, and obviously you could see her mastermind in this is understanding.
This is another thing that was interesting. You had Black Entertainment Television, ching ching. So Black Entertainment was actually putting it in front of the both US audience and the global audience.
Yep.
And so they actually seen these guys performing live on secular platforms.
Yeah. And the thing is, lazy content on a Sunday is put Kirk Franklin's albums on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They'll get the royalties, and on top of that, they'll get more sales because everyone goes, because the funny thing is, BET will be up to pure madness all week long, pure Jodeci.
Some of the stuff that we saw on BET, it was a bit too far. A bit too far, But
on a Sunday,
bro,
straight church.
Boom.
Straight unadulterated church, like hardcore church.
Church, bro. I know.
If people want
you see Patti LaBelle and all of them.
So if you're Kirk Franklin now and you're recorded albums and Kurt Carrs hitting people that used to go to church, and they said, "Chong, I'm not going to church today. I'm going to watch it on TV." When they start to hear the Kurt Franklin song "Silver and Gold," and all these different things, they started hearing him sing, and it starts having a major
Gold
influence.
album back from
Christmas album.
Yeah, Gold album.
I bought these albums when I was a Kurt fan. Yeah, I was a Kurt fan. You know what I mean? I was a Kurt fan. You know what I'm saying? A great artist, fantastic artist. You know what I'm saying? So, Gospel Centric had a massive influence on this, and we want to salute this lady. We may even get a future interview with her. We might sound out and see if we can talk to her, and really and really look to somebody who's amazing. So I'll try. Guys, never know. I'm going to arrange that. But listen, we have to salute our sister's input. You got something to show there?
Yeah, this is another sister here, CC Winan, who did this album is a gold album on her own label. On her own label as well. Distributed through Epic, but it's she runs she's just amazing. Throne Room. One of her this was exploding around the same time that Kurt Franklin. This is and also the people who produced those were Cedric and Victor Cardwell Plus Production. These are serious top end gospel production team and songwriters. Whoops, this was just coming off there. Beg pardon, but but you get an idea of some of the top end, and remember she's running her own label.
Okay, there's another example of the sisters there taking charge in the 90s.
And also, around that time, you have what was happening as well. Around that time, James Poyser was working between them. James Poyser from Church of God. He's working between those sisters as well, and so on. So it's a total revolution across the board.
Brilliant, man! Absolutely fantastic, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
and let's not forget. From the same gospel eccentric stroke Zomba, this brother comes out with one of his recent platinum albums.
That's his last platinum album.
One of his last certified platinum, 2006. Now the interesting thing about this, the guy who did the strings and horn arrangements into this is the same brother who works for Prince on the Batman soundtrack and Parade and so forth. Same brother. The late Donald Claire Fisher, a master jazz, classically trained musician and composer that Quincy Jones worked with and all these different people. He worked on one of the last albums he did. And This was one of the... he died at 80-something, a few more years after that. But this is the thing that we need to understand. Look at it. This is the... Executive producer is Kurt Franklin, Mac Siegel, Carla Williams, and Jesse Hurst. These are some serious executives behind it. Yeah, Brother Siegel, make sure him get into it. You see.
Yay!
Business people, master.
Yeah.
And it's got 20 tracks on it, outro and intro. It's got Dorandina Clark Core on it, Jay Moss, all these top end, Marvin L. Winan, Yolanda Adams, Stevie Wonder on it.
Yeah, see, Steve's always trying to flex
Yes,
in the
it's
gospel.
crossover. He's crossing over. So it's a top end, and this is a Platinum Plus album.
Brilliant.
Over 1 million copies.
Brilliant.
And it's jointly with Flow Your Soul that is Kurt Franklin's label.
Yeah.
And with Gospel Eccentric and Zomba as a distributing powerhouse. Now, okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get this straight here. This album, if you didn't know it was a gospel album, it was good like any secular album. He was performing toe to toe with all, with the Tony Braxton, etc. at the time. The same level. He was crossing over into gospel and pop.
Yeah.
Album.
No, 100%.
And this is all to do with this lady coming out.
Yeah, man,
with
she
it.
should be
Yes,
definitely
yes.
produced it through.
So, and this was happening as well. And of course, this brother here is talking about this. One of Andrew Crouch's last albums before he died. Well, this was just come out. I can't really see the date.
Okay, cool. Mercy, I remember this album coming out
Mercy.
still. Yeah,
Yeah,
Say
yeah.
So. My goodness, this is dead small, bro. Even I'm going, what on earth? It's under Quest Records.
Quest Records.
Yeah,
Who
so
did Quest Records owns Quest? Have a guess? Oh,
Quincy.
yes.
Okay.
Quincy was under
So
Quincy.
it's Quincy.
label.
Quincy helped him do the Mercy album.
Yes,
Big Mercy
yes.
because he kind of went quiet for a bit still, Andrea. And
He was working the behind the scene. He was working with Madonna and all of them.
Yeah, yeah,
Remember,
yeah,
he was
yeah.
doing behind the scene.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
he
like
was
with
working
Michael
on
Jackson?
yes,
Yeah.
and he was working back on the block for Quincy, doing
Okay.
arrangements and so forth.
So-
So this is a serious session, man.
So it definitely, you see in the boom period, really in the 90s, as he
Yeah.
says, the foundation that was done in the 70s, what we looked at, we see the boom part.
Yeah.
And Vicki Mack, Lataillade,
she learned her craft during the 70s.
And the one thing what I would say, guys, when we look at people, I always say to people, when you look at gold rushes and we look at things historically, gold rushes are not there to tell you to go to that spot and you find the same amount of gold because it's already gone. What you have to realize is to be in the right place at the right time for when that happens, because everybody who gets told there's gold over there, when they get there, most of the gold's already gone. You know what I'm saying? So one thing that's consistent with all these people, we successful people, is work rate, focus, be in the right place at the right time. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be careful that that you will just give up, or and a lot of times where we learn from the wider world, how soon do you come back into the gospel world and bring that knowledge? Do you wait until the end of your career, or do you come when you get the opportunity very early on? Are you prepared to put your money where your mouth is? Very hard thing to do. You know what I'm saying? People always look at like myself and a number of people around the UK and go, okay, cool. Yeah, man, it's easy to do that because all you have to do is think like that. But when people want to put the money where their mouth is, that's when it makes a difference between great people and people that just, I'm afraid, it sounds harsh, don't really... Can talk it. We have spent a lot of time on Zoom meetings. You go and see, you're gonna see her and go, oh, inspired. But are you really gonna go that far? Are you really gonna take out money out of your pension to invest into?
That's what they did.
To do a dream. Whatsoever. But you could argue and say there's another million people around the place who took out from the pensions to do the gospel album. You're totally right as well, because she's gonna be just a one blessed person. So there's so many dynamics to be a successful entrepreneurial, creative in the gospel world. Is unreal. And what I always say, the gospel world is like Vietnam. You go into the jungle and whatever you go in there with, it's a different rules on the ground.
Well, let me just make it something clear to you, ladies and gentlemen. According to the fact that many of the major operatives operate from Nashville, which is the center for a lot of the recording studios that a lot of gospel albums are recorded, because you've got the top end string section, Nashville String Machine, which are classically trained musicians for hire, and they worked. Their credits run into the thousands actually, and there is okay. First of all, the Gospel Music Association is based there, and it monitors, it does the Dove Awards and so forth. So it's a very important institution that one needs to follow if we want to know what's going on with gospel music. But there's another organization which is bigger than the gospel music on the secular market, is our brothers operating from London, that looks at the global markets of what's happening in different regions, what is exploding. They could tell you that the Afrobeat was exploding from so and so, because they were watching it for several decades as it fermentate and develop. So you're talking about strategic alignment. That's why it's very important to read and research, and stop looking at television and spending time watching your soap opera, and get reading this. I touch a corn there, but so what? You got to be master at research. looking at peripherals. I know a lot about the industry, and why? And I still don't know everything, because I read and research, and I look at, when I'm looking at the gospel music, I'm looking at what's happening secular-wise with Hele Reid and La Face Record and Bad Boy Production. All of them are kicking at the same time. Uptown Records. It's vitally important, because whatever happening in one is going to happen in the other, because that's where they work, because the top end musicians work between, they go. That's what they did during the 70s. You know, top end musicians working with Andrew Crouch, and next minute they're with Marvin Gaye, you know, T. Walker and all of them, and Joe Sample. They work between. And it doesn't matter who the session is, they do the best at every session. They're top end. That's what they mean. Top end.
Crazy.
Top end, top end.
Crazy, man.
So it's vitally important to understand the business historically and current. Keep on looking. And there are bodies. We're really spoiled, actually. We live in the third largest music market, and we don't know that they're international operatives based in London, right underneath our nose. International operatives that are based in London. And don't forget our neighbours just over there in Europe, Germany, fourth largest. So can you imagine if your work has been mastered between them and the fifth largest, which is France? France is another one. France was responsible to develop their own hip-hop market. They developed their own hip-hop art market in the French language territory across the globe. So these people understand about marketing and so
we have the three biggest in the top five.
Yeah.
There's three within
Right in our yard.
Right next to us.
Yeah.
You've got third place England, fourth place Germany,
fifth place
place is France. Like,
and
guys,
then Spain is something, and then you have look, and then you got Sweden, Sweden is part of the top 10 but that's another top end. You know, these we got so many, and for instance, can you imagine Billy Thetford working with one of the late master string ragers, legend. He was born in England. He died at 80 plus. Jerry, when you see Jerry on an album, when you see him doing string arrangements on an album, then you know the album is serious, because he's a brother, doesn't actually work on rubbish. So when I see Jerry or I see Benjamin Wright Jr., let's just check it out. Do you understand?
Yeah.
The album must be
the credits
are serious. The credits tells you these brothers are going up for the best.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
okay,
man.
but anyway.
That's the way it goes anyway, guys. But listen, guys, we come to another end of another set of recordings we're doing for the a wholesome, inspiring, hopefully, series where we've really dedicated this past couple of series onto gospel music. I know we've done a lot of black music. We've done a lot of people out in the secular market. We've done a lot of gospel music and looking at our roots and looking at the artists which has influenced our sound right now. We're looking at even the amazing this episode, Vicki Mack Lataillade, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We'll find out who I said that. I'll probably get it to.
Well, we've probably got it. We'll probably have to ask her sideways, please. Can you help me to pronounce it correctly? Exactly. I suppose I know that Juliet Fletcher can pronounce it, you know, and and our sister Anu, you know, they can
they can pronounce it. Yeah. But as for ourselves, but now we do salute you, sis, and we just want to just guys, you know, want to focus in terms of celebrating the success that you had with Gospel Centric. But we wanted to celebrate, you know, what we're doing here, what we've done here in this world from a creative market, mean that when we walk through the doors of broken deals, we're not being arrogant, but we're walking with our chest high because we are bringing something to the table, which is the best for me in creative sound. When it comes to, we bring the best. You know what I mean? As music of black origin, we bring the best. We're the best at 100 meters. we're the best at music.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Sonic mastery the
you're saying
ultimate level.
You know what I mean? That doesn't mean no one else can run. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You're
brother.
saying, and no one else can train. You know what I mean? You can train. You can train.
Yeah, you can train. But
you can coach. But we'll do the running.
We're talking about blacks dominating,
Yeah.
sprinting for decades.
Yeah, man.
I mean, you just check back the historically of the Olympics.
Yeah.
Once those guys get into gear, they
Dominate,
dominate.
but we had coaches. You had
coaches, master coaches.
master coaches that are not black and everything else. So everybody has the part to play, people.
Yes,
Everybody has the part
yes,
to play.
yes.
100%, man. But listen, guys, nothing but love. Love is myself and Kevin Tomlin. Over and out.
This one with Vicky. Right?
Hey, this is your bishop. This is your bishop from Rock Solid. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for clicking and subscribing and also sending these videos to other people as well. We are so hungry to get your support. So remember, check us out on our website, and also check us out on Insta and wherever you want to find us on Spotify. You can play us all day as well. And just make sure that you are supporting this channel, that we are developing our agenda towards music of black origin, and that is gospel music with a message. So please walk with us on this journey. Bye now.